नमस्कार सभी को, मेरा नाम संचिका गुप्ता है और मैं इको इंडिया में मैनेजर के पद पे मैं काम करती हूँ। एमएनसी बैच 1 मॉड्यूल 8 में मैं आप सभी लोगों का हार्दिक स्वागत करती हूँ। आज हमारा सेशन आईपीसी इन स्पेशल सिचुएशन होगा। हमारी ट्रेनर मैम निशा नायक जी हमारे साथ जुड़ चुकी हैं। सो आई वुड लाइक टू स्टार्ट फर्स्ट विद द जनरल अनाउंसमेंट्स। सबसे पहले हम एजेंडा रिव्यू करेंगे। आज मैम का लेक्चर होगा मॉड्यूल 8 पे और मैम के लेक्चर के टाइम पे मैं किसी को भी अनम्यूट एक्सेस नहीं दूंगी, क्योंकि जिससे कि हम उनकी आवाज को आसानी से सुन सके बिना किसी भी बैकग्राउंड नॉइस के। अगर मैम के लेक्चर के टाइम पे किसी का भी कोई डाउट होता है तो फिर आप अपने सवालों को चैट बॉक्स में लिख सकते हैं। मैम के लेक्चर के बाद जो है हम अनम्यूट एक्सेस देंगे और आप लोग से रिक्वेस्ट करेंगे आपके जो भी सवाल है आप चैट बॉक्स में लिख सकते हैं या फिर अपने सवालों को अनम्यूट करके पूछ सकते हैं। और अंत में हमेशा की तरह मैं एक फीडबैक लिंक शेयर करूंगी और आपसे रिक्वेस्ट करूंगी कि आप लोग फीडबैक फॉर्म जरूर भरें। वो पार्टिसिपेंट्स जो आज हमारे साथ जुड़े हुए हैं मैं उनसे रिक्वेस्ट करूंगी कि जो लोग रेडमी नोट ओप्पो वीवो लिनोवो के नाम से जुड़े हैं प्लीज अपने आप को रीनेम करें और अपना रीनेम करने के लिए आपके स्क्रीन पे 3 ब्लू डॉट्स हैं जूम इंटरफेस पे, उस पर क्लिक करेंगे। सबसे एंड में जो है आपका रीनेम का ऑप्शन है और आप लोग वहां पे सुवर्णा जी को मेरी आवाज सुनाई नहीं दे रही है। अच्छा, मैं कहूंगी थोड़ा सा आप अपना वॉल्यूम तेज करें क्योंकि मैं तो काफी जोर जोर से बोल रही हूँ यहाँ पे। अच्छा, अब हमारे वीडियोस आप लोग प्लीज ऑन रखें क्योंकि हमारी ट्रेनर मैम को जो है ब्लैक स्क्रीन को देख के पढ़ाने में अच्छा नहीं लगता है। और दूसरी चीज और कि यहाँ हमारे साथ बहुत से लोग जुड़े हैं, उनका नाम हम शायद याद ना रख पाए या फिर रख पाए, कभी हम मिले तो आप शायद उनको पहचान ना पाए क्योंकि हमने उनकी शक्ल नहीं देखी। चेहरे को देखते हैं तो थोड़ा सा ध्यान रहता है, हाँ उससे हम वहां मिले थे। ऑनलाइन मिलना भी अब एक मिलना हो गया, एक मीटिंग हो गई है क्योंकि कोविड की तरह की वजह से हम कोई भी फिजिकल मीटिंग स्टॉप कर नहीं पा रहे। सबको पता है एक नया वेरिएंट भी आ गया ओमिक्रॉन, अब पता नहीं आगे क्या होगा। तो मैं सबसे रिक्वेस्ट करूंगी, मुझे पता आप लोग अपने वर्क प्लेस में हैं, लेकिन अगर आप लोग अपने वीडियोस ऑन रख सकते हैं तो प्लीज ऑन रखें। हमारे रीनेम भी बता दिया। आप लोग भी एमएनसी बैच 1 में हैं और ध्यान रखिएगा आप लोग एमएनसी बैच 1 में ही सारे सेशंस अटेंड करेगा। ये मॉड्यूल 8 है, मॉड्यूल 9 10 अभी बाकी है, तो कहीं मत जाइएगा। So up now I would like to introduce our trainer ma'am, Nisha Sandeep Nayak ji, who is associate professor at the D.Y. Patil Vidyapeeth College of Nursing, Pune. She has more than 19 years of experience in the academics. She has published 40 research publications in different journals. She is the resource person in various national and international conferences and approved MNC speaker. A very warm welcome to ma'am. Over to you, ma'am. I've given you the screen sharing rights. Your video is clear. Your voice was also clear. Please go ahead.
Thank you, madam. Thank you, Eco India Group, for, as usual, again, you have chosen for this batch 1. I think this was the actual right batch where we had to start initial and then we have to come to the rest. But I started with the rest batch and we are at the last with this batch.
Actually, ma'am, the issue is they have bi-weekly sessions, means fortnightly. Okay, the rest of the batches are having weekly sessions. So that is the reason. So,
no, I have no problem. It's my duty. Let that be any batch I have to go with as a speaker. Besides that, how I am feeling is the training is for trainers, then the trainees. Means I hope you understood. I am getting more trained in this subject repeatedly because I am giving, and that to every alternate day. So it has become like I am getting trained in this too, because the trainer is getting trained, then the trainees.
ma'am, I always believe everything
Okay,
that we
so
do
with this
is a big
humor,
learning for us. Yes, ma'am, please go ahead.
Yes, of course. And every day when we go with this, we have something new to look into this. Anyway, to begin with the acknowledgement to Eco India and MNC for the group. Good morning to all. As usual, I say we are learning. It's not I am telling and you are listening. We are learning because those who are in clinical area, they are the more mastery over the person who is taking theory, because you are handling with practical. And this class is definitely with very theoretical, because we are in the Zoom online and we are just giving the subject content, what you know. That's only upgrading. It is not you don't know, that we are not upgrading. You know it, and we all have learned it in right from our nursing course. Besides that, about the language, definitely I'll go with Hindi. Marathi, maximum grammatical mistakes, and even in Hindi I'm not that comfortable with other language when I am teaching. But besides that, I think certain terms what we have, like medical asepsis, OT, surgical unit, these all are medical terms. In this, I don't think there is Hindi or Marathi terms. So I think this will help you. Only the sentence framing, I can take it in Hindi. Besides that, this is your module 8. Now module 8, what is that? To introduce with that, you have learned right from this Eco India has taken the initiation. First, let me share the slides also. You all see, you can see that slides? Yes, everybody can see the slides? Hello? You can write it in chat box, yes or no. Okay, thank you so much. I'll do the slides sharing. Okay, now Eco India has taken initiation. Now this your IPC, it was in the initiation of this Ministry of Health and Family Welfare, ICMR, NCDC, and WHO, especially in hand hygiene, and CDC has taken initiation for IPC. Now, how it was existing, that is in 2018, there was a nurse who, in that breakdown, she was expired while giving the care during the Nipah virus. So that thought provoked during that time for IPC, and then now because of this pandemic, it has come into existence. Now, how is it designed? If you see your module 1 to 7, if you see, your module 1 says about the terminologies of infection control or IPC, all the, whatever the terminologies are there, it is existing in that module. If you see the module 2, you can see the committees who can control with the IPC. In hospitals, if you are working, you must have seen infection control team, infection control nurse. So these teams take care of these things, what has to happen. And then if you see module 3 and 4, it's about the procedure. Let that be a hand hygiene, aseptic protocols, or any with the contact precautions, triages, all this has come in the module 3 and 4, and module 5 is about the biomedical waste and whatever the safe food, water, all this in the module 5. Module 6 is of hospital association or acquired infection, hospital associated infection or hospital acquired infection, maybe that is related to central line or catheter lines. So in that way, I'm just giving you some key words which you have learned in these modules. And 7th one is about the surveillance. Now module 1 to 7 you have learned. Now what you have to do in module 8 is you need to apply it in this module given various settings, like what the settings is given. Based on that you have to apply. But before going to module 8, I hope I have made a revision that from module 1 to 7, what you have learned, how you have to apply it in module 8. Because module 8 is about the completely setting, and module 1 to 7, what you have theoretically learned, you have to make it into existence, or have to apply it somewhere. So there is module 8 with the various settings. Now before going into this setting, especially now this IPC, why they have thought of this, and what is that what we have to do in setting, like this IPC, when it's there, when it has come to avoid the hospital associated infection from patient to patient, patient to other patient, patient to healthcare worker. If the patient is infected, when it is hospital associated, the infection can occur, because all these settings, what we are doing is that doing it in the hospital setting, and then from patient to healthcare worker, and from healthcare worker to patient. So in that way, to avoid that, we are following this IPC. And this IPC, when we are from module 1 to 7, what we have learned, and we are, if we are practicing it in the setting, what is today, what we are going to do, then that will reduce. I will not say completely, it's 100% we have to remove this. So we have to be thoroughly practicing this, but we can reduce the infection rate and even the passing of disease condition, or even increasing with the disease condition rates. So in that way, this protocols of IPC is given. Now, to provoke your thought to with your brainstorming, I'll just go into the introduction before going into the setting. Now we will take the setting. Wherever we stay, let the person stay in the hostel, or let the person stay at home, or you have a however it is, nuclear family or joint family. I'll go into the house setting, like what I have told is hospital associated infection. Now at house, what can be there? Just guess. When it comes to HAI, hospital associated infection, same HAI is with where we are going with the house also. What can be that? Anybody can write it in chat box. I'm waiting for your answer. I hope I'm audible. Because no. Okay, hand hygiene. Okay, first I will tell you, then you let me know what is HAI for when we are related to house. When we go to house from outside, let that be your work schedule, and when from work schedule, when you are going, I hope you will not go with the outdoor footwears. You will remove that, and you may use it your house footwears, or you may not use. It's not necessary. So that out footwear, you will keep it outside, and you will see that you are immediately you will go to hand wash, or you will completely take a bath for your cleanliness. That is what we are trying to do in hospital setting also. If you observe in OT, ICU, or any of the isolated areas where we don't use the outside footwear, and we use the new ones which is available in the setting, wherever the setting given. Besides that, we use OT dress or ICU clothings, because we follow in the cleanliness. That same way outside clothings we don't use. Same way at home also, when we are wearing some dress, we try to put it for washing after we are going from outside. Especially now through pandemic, I think each and every family, after outside, wherever they are going, they take bath, they keep themselves clean, sanitization, as well as changing of clothings. They don't whole day they don't roam around in the house with the same clothing, because to avoid the passing of infection. Same way what we follow at home, because we have not thought over it that we are following these things, but just to brainstorm you that we are doing it every day. A layman is also doing that, removing of outdoor chappals, removing of outdoor clothing, changing that clothing, taking complete bath. And even at home, when we are cleaning, we use disinfectants to clean our floors or any equipments, anything at home. What is that? And kitchen especially, we consider it, actually it should be a very clean and actually a sterile area, because it's where we prepare food. But we can consider it as disposable, by because most of the garbages of house, what is there, again we dispose at home. If you see, the government has given to segregate even the disposes, the dry and wet disposes also. Um, dry and wet disposals also. So it means that biomedical waste management also is followed at home based on segregation of the garbages or disposals. So it means that every day what we are doing, suppose now you are nurses, you are learning it. At home, if you have any layman or your elderly people, even they are trying to follow this infection control at house. So it means now what is that HAI for when we are at a home? Anybody can answer for with this brainstorming? HAI at hospital is hospital acquired infection or associated infection. But if it is HAI at home, what can be that? No answer in the chat box. मैंने जो भी बोला समझ में आ रहा है ना? एटलीस्ट यस और नो सुनाई तो दे रहा है क्या? सुनाई दे रहा है तो उसका मतलब अभी मैंने जो ब्रेनस्टॉर्मिंग किया है तो उसका HAI क्या हो सकता है? ह्यूमन एक्वायर्ड इन्फेक्शन या नहीं ये भी स्वाति कुलकर्णी मुझे तो आपसे ही समझा ह्यूमन एक्वायर्ड इन्फेक्शन नहीं। ह्यूमन एक्वायर्ड इन्फेक्शन ना होने के लिए ही तो हम लोग सारा घर पर फॉलो करते हैं। हाउस एक्वायर्ड इन्फेक्शन बोल सकते हैं क्योंकि हॉस्पिटल में भी हम ह्यूमंस रहते हैं, पेशेंट रहते हैं, हेल्थ केयर वर्कर रहते हैं, वही अवॉइड करने के लिए तो हॉस्पिटल एक्वायर्ड इन्फेक्शन बोलते हैं। वैसे ही घर के फैमिली मेंबर्स एक दूसरे को इन्फेक्शन ना पास करे तो हाउस एक्वायर्ड इन्फेक्शन हम बोल सकते हैं क्योंकि घर पर भी हम लोग डिसइंफेक्टेंट यूज करते हैं, डिस्पोजेबल वेस्ट मैनेजमेंट भी फॉलो करते हैं और क्लीनलीनेस, हाइजीन, छोटे बच्चे रहे तो उनके तो हर एक आर्टिकल्स को हम क्लीन करते हैं। तो उस हिसाब पे मुझे लगता है कि हाउस एक्वायर्ड इन्फेक्शन हम HAI का दूसरा ये भी पहलू भी मिल गया है कि हॉस्पिटल एक्वायर्ड के बाद हाउस एक्वायर्ड इन्फेक्शन भी हो सकता है अगर हम घर को साफ नहीं रखेंगे तो। बट ऐसा कभी होता नहीं है क्योंकि हम क्लीनलीनेस जरूर सोचते हैं। So then with this brainstorming, wherever I will tell you about the different setting, try to correlate that whether really you are doing at home and when you are doing correlate, yes, we are doing that and still we couldn't think over it. So same way in different setting that given is today 6 settings. Now in six settings, first one is surgical unit, that is OT, maternity unit, that is labor room, neonatal unit, that is NICU, hemodialysis unit, ICU, and clinical lab setting, that is laboratory. Again, I'll repeat, there is surgical unit, that is OT, maternal unit, that is labor room, and a neonatal unit, that is NICU, hemodialysis unit, and ICU, and clinical lab, that is laboratory setting. Now, first we will go to surgical setting. Now surgical setting, actually I don't have much to say because we all, when we have worked in OT, we have followed complete detail about what we have done. Only we need to upgrade it and we have to follow thoroughly without any negligence in the following, like cutting short of nails, wearing no jewelries, and medical and surgical assistance, especially the person who is assisting and who is entering the OT room, those who are following with the proper surgical asepsis. And how surgical asepsis, it is still forearms to be cleaned with very high detergent antimicrobial agents. The surgical hand scrubs are done with very high antimicrobial agents. Now it should be with the running water, where it should flow from running water from the hand to the elbow. Suppose there is no running water tap, you can keep a clean stored water also, and proper alcohol hand rubs. Now about the OT attires. The OT attires are like loose. Why? Because it is easy for launder and it is designed so that when you are worn, we can properly hand scrub our hands till the forearms. So we can wear, so the sleeves are half, and the shirts, it is very loose. When we are removing also, it is very useful. And then the pants which is designed are with drawstrings, that is when we touch and hold one tip of the knot, it is easy to for the changing of this attires. And for the the designing is for easy launder. Now similarly, you have to follow a complete PPE kit when we are following that is in the attire, when though we are in the surgical attire, OT attires, and surgical OT attires. After your hand scrub, you are to follow complete PPE kit with gloves, gowns, caps, mask, eye protection, aprons, footwear, everything to avoid the infections. And surgical attire also protect the surgical team from other surgical site infections of the patients. When you are in complete PPE, okay. I hope I am audible. Next, with this surgical unit field, that sterility of this field is very essential. Why? Because when the patient is performed with surgery, that whole area gets contaminated, especially the OT gets contaminated. When the OT gets contaminated, the surgical site infection, surgical sterile, every instrument, everything need to be disinfected and sterile after the OT. When the surgery is performed, every equipment also need to be sterile. Now when we are using in the OT, when the surgery is going on, definitely a sterile instruments need to be used, sterile towels, sterile drapes need to be used for the procedures. Now, if a surgical unit, if I have already told everything what we are using, that we definitely we are using it now. It's just a review and updating of the information. So it is just like if somewhere you may find it is like a repetition, as like cutting of you're shortening the nails, removing of your jewelries, surgical attire, then PPE kit, and all the surgical site, maintaining the sterility of the surgical site when the surgery is going on, following all sterile equipments, draperies, procedures, the sterile trolley, how it is maintained, that also we are we need to follow very in a sterile form to avoid the infection to the patient and patient to the other patient when the patient is shifted in the ward. Now, in this maintaining of sterile field, these are certain points. I think it must have been given in your certain modules also. It is similar that open transfer or dispense should not be contaminated. Outer cover of the sterile should not be unsterile. And usually when we say the lower the waist level, it is unsterile, and upper the waist level, it is sterile. So you need to follow when you are scrubbed yourself, you need to be straight, you don't have to bend, and if for getting some sterile articles or something, you need to ask for help from the cleaners. Next, about the cleaning of the surgical unit, that is cleaning and disinfecting after your surgery. The area where the surgery is done, there are spills and fluids. Now to avoid that with the infection due to surgical site infections, SSI, surgical site infection, that environment or that OT need to be cleaned thoroughly. The surface should be cleaned first with detergent to remove organic matter, and then the spills should be cleaned immediately with higher concentration disinfection. And that initially also I have told you, any surgical site spills and all you need to clean. Besides that, you have to change that all sheets, everything. Besides that, the OT bed or OT table, it should be cleaned thoroughly with higher concentration disinfectant. The tubings, everything, if it is disposable, you should be discarded. If it is to be not disposable ones, you need to clean with the higher concentration disinfectants. Even the anesthesia machines, everything, even the walls of the OT need to be clean. And to the certain after certain this, you need to fumigate the OT if the excess of the surgery. Fumigation with the aldehydes, where 40% of aldehydes with KMNO4 need to be fumigated your surgical OT. This is that picture how you need to clean the equipment of each and every, let that be a OT table, your disposables, your tubings, your everything need to be with, clean with the higher disinfecting unit. Now coming to the location of the OT. Now, where the OT should be located in the hospitals. Now, when the location of the OT is that it should be at always at the higher level. Now, why at the higher level? Because there should be a less crowd of the patient. Suppose imagine if it is in OPD, the OT is nearby to OPD, and in OPD you have so many crowds, so many patients every day and different patient, and the definitely higher pressure in the OT will reduce the less contaminated air inside the OT. But still you can, to avoid excess of the infection, you have to have at the higher level, and then maybe if the hospital is of 5 floors, you have to shift that OT to at the you should have that OT at the 3rd floor. Now, when you have that OT at 3rd floor, the crowd will be less, and maybe the transferring of the patient may be difficult, but still the crowd is lesser, the lesser the infection, and then lesser the contaminated air to move inside the OT, though there is a positive pressure. So it should be in the less patient area where there is no more patient and at the higher level. Now this about the OC setup. If you go, anybody, please can you tell me what are the 4 zones of OT in the chat box? What are the four zones of OT? Can anybody tell me what are the 4 zones of OT? I'm waiting for answer in the chat box. Pre-op room, okay. Okay, with the one answer also I'll move. Pre-op room is there, but we have segregated in this recovery room. Okay. We have segregated these rooms in different zones. Now, different zones are, first is clean zone. First is clean zone, second is protective zone, third is aseptic zone, and fourth is disposable zones. Now, when there is clean zone, or only OT staff can go, like that be a OT corridor and all, only there OT staffs are allowed. In protective zone, it's like changing room for you, and even for storeroom, we can tell it as storeroom in protective zones. And in aseptic zones, as usual, you know, when the word aseptic is there, it is like induction room. Induction room, it is meant with the OT, where there is OT table, or when surgery is performed, or anesthesia room, that also we can say. So those are under OT, that is induction room, OT room, all this comes under aseptic zones. And disposable, definitely, you know, where all contaminated things we dispose is called disposable zones. So these are the 4 zones of OTs, where we have the structure in our OT, that is clean zone, protective zone, induction or aseptic zones, and disposable zones. Now we will go with the airflow. Now, if anybody knows, please write it. Which are the different types of airflows in the OT? Besides that, I will continue with what I have to tell. Now, when there is zones in OT, we have a higher pressure airflow. Why? Because higher pressure of airflow will avoid getting contaminated with external airflow. When there is negative pressure, the external airflow is more and the infection is higher. So, air handling unit, when there is there and air handling unit, there is a unit in the hospital where they handle with the all these settings with positive pressure. In the OT, there are 3 airflows: laminar flow, that is with the HEPA filters, that is high efficiency particular air filter, that is 98%, 99.97% we give with HEPA filters, and we have for the laminar flow. The word itself say laminar flow means unidirectional flow of the air that will reduce in the external contaminated airflow. Then stabilized, and third one is turbulent flow. Turbulent word itself is anyhow, anywhere it can move, the air can move. Stabilized, it is in constant form. So in that way, there are the air handling unit is giving with the three different airflows in the OT. Like it can be in any setting, also ICU or labor room, but in OT the higher there is higher pressures. Now when you see extract and supply, in the extract there is higher pressure we are taking, we are trying to exchange with that, and we are trying to supply with higher positive pressure with flow rate of liter per second. When the flow rate is of liter per second, and then in this three airflow, that is laminar flow where we are using HEPA filters, that is we are giving unidirectional flow, and second one is stabilized flow, and third one is turbulent flow. तो इस तो इन जोन्स में क्या होता है, 4 जोन्स है, क्लीन जोन, प्रोटेक्टिव जोन, एसेप्टिक जोन. एसेप्टिक जोन में ओटी रूम और इंडक्शन रूम भी बोल सकते हैं, और डिस्पोजेबल्स वेयर वी आर यूज फॉलोइंग द बायोमेडिकल वेस्ट. और एयर फ्लो में एयर हैंडलिंग यूनिट होता है, उसमें हम दे विल हैंडल दिस एयर फ्लो. एंड 3 एयर फ्लो है, लेमिनार फ्लो, स्टेबलाइज्ड फ्लो एंड टर्बुलेंट फ्लो. अभी नेक्स्ट नया ट्रेंड है ग्रीन ओटी. ग्रीन ओटी का मतलब है उधर प्रॉपर वेंटिलेशन, एयर, टेम्परेचर एंड स्टेराइल यूनिट रहना है. स्टेराइल यूनिट मतलब स्टेराइल यूनिट रहना है. अभी ग्रीन ओटी का प्रॉपर ये है कि एयर फ्लो सेटअप, एनेस्थीसिया मशीन्स विच इज वेरी इन न्यू ट्रेंड, परफेक्ट एंड green connotes cleaner technique using moderate technique process को हम green OT बोलते हैं. green OT में ये सारे चीजें उसमें अवेलेबल रहना चाहिए. ग्रीन ओटी का हम आजकल का स्टेटस है, ग्रीन ओटी का ट्रेंड है. तो ये जो ग्रीन ओटी है उसमें हम लोग ये बिलीव करते हैं कि उसमें लेस कंटामिनेशन एंड लेस इन्फेक्टेड एरिया रहता है. This is about the OT. To OT का एक जुड़ा हिस्सा है कि CSST. अभी जुड़ा हिस्सा नहीं बोल सकते, जहाँ होती है स्टेरिलाइजेशन डिपार्टमेंट हम फॉलो करते हैं. So then there will be a CSST. This diagram itself says now where should be the location of CSST. It should be in the lower level of the OT. OT अगर थर्ड फ्लोर पे है तो CSST फर्स्ट फ्लोर या ग्राउंड फ्लोर पे रह सकता है. ग्राउंड फ्लोर पे रहा तो बहुत अच्छा है, क्योंकि दैट इज कंटैमिनेटेड. वी कंसिडर इट एज कंटैमिनेटेड जोन बिकॉज वी आर क्लीनिंग. ऑल दिस अनस्टेराइल थिंग्स आर सेंट टू स्टेराइल. तो इसके लिए उसको लोअर लेवल पे रखना रहता है. एंड प्रॉपर लेआउट कौन सा है उसमें, इसमें भी हम यूनिडायरेक्शनल फ्लो फॉलो करते हैं. इसके जोनिंग कौन से है, क्लीनिंग एरिया है, ड्राइंग एरिया, पैकेजिंग एरिया एंड स्टेरिलाइजेशन एरिया. These are the zones in CSST. That is cleaning area, drying area, packaging area and sterilization area. ये 4 जोन में जब ये कंप्लीट process hota hai, then they send that sterile equipment sealed in a storage. When from that storage, whole hospital can collect their sterile articles of the ward or any unit in the issue counter. Let that be ICU का भी, तो वो CSSD से कलेक्ट कर सकते. OT के आर्टिकल्स तक इश्यू काउंटर से कलेक्ट कर सकते. अभी जोन्स का कैसे होता है, उसमें 3 जोन है. सॉइल्ड जोन, सारे जो हम अनस्टेराइल्ड आर्टिकल आता है वो सॉइल्ड जोन में है. उधर नेगेटिव प्रेशर होता है, क्योंकि पहले से वो सॉइल्ड है, तो उसमें उधर पॉजिटिव प्रेशर देने की जरूरत नहीं है. तो इसके लिए सॉइल्ड जोन से जब क्लीन करने के लिए भेजते तभी वो क्लीन जोन है. तो इट मीन्स लेस पॉजिटिव air pressure, and when it becomes completely sterile, then we need a higher positive pressure in this area. So separation of clean and dirty area is separate, and there should be a sufficient space for CSST. So these are with the location. It should be below the OT, that it can be at ground level also. And about the positive pressure, that it is unidirectional flow, and the zoning with clean area, drying area, packing area, sterile area, there is a we send it to storage, and from people can collect different ward, people can collect it from the storage. And when there is zones, it is for soil zone where there is negative pressure, and clean zone with the positive pressure, and sterile with the highly positive pressure to maintain the sterility, and these are as per the WHO guidelines. So this is about the surgical unit. Next we will go for maternity. Before going to maternity unit, we have completed this surgical unit, that is also called as OT, where we have learned about the gowning, gloving, and how and the importance of use of PPE, cleaning of the OT from the surgical site infections, the fumigation of OT and OT setup with the 4 zones and 3 air flows, and with air handling unit, and about the green OT, and about the CSSD department with 3 zones, with soil, clean and sterile zone with higher positive pressure. So next we will move into maternity units. Now in maternity unit, we are having, why we should have setting where we have to understand about IPC, because during intrapartum, जब भी डिलीवरी होता है और डिलीवरी के बाद इन्फेक्शन होने के चांसेस बहुत रहते हैं. इंट्रापार्टम में इंट्रा एमनियोटिक इन्फेक्शन occurring before birth, and postpartum में puerperal infections हो सकता है. Now clinically हम क्या देखते हैं, endometritis, surgical site infection, वो normal delivery हो या C-section, septic pelvic thrombophlebitis, then infected episiotomy, healthcare associated UTI, and intra-amniotic infection syndrome. Intra-amniotic infection syndrome लिखा है, मतलब बहुत सारा साइन एंड सिम्टम्स होता है. तो क्या क्या हो सकता है इसमें इंट्रा-amniotic infection syndrome में? क्या क्या हो सकता है? कोई चैट बॉक्स में लिखेगा इंट्रा-amniotic infection syndrome. Anybody? एक इन्फेक्शन तो मैं एग्जांपल बोलती हूँ, फीवर. हमको इन्फेक्शन जब रहता है फीवर तो आता ही है, करेक्ट, फीवर. उसके बाद मैटरनल एंड फीटल टैकिकार्डिया होता है. अगर एमनियोटिक है तो एमनियोटिक का बैड ओडर आता है, एंड यूट्रस टेंडरनेस होता है. इंट्रा एमनियोटिक इन्फेक्शन, इन दैट देयर इज फीवर, maternal and fetal tachycardia, cervical discharges, and uterine tenderness, and amniotic fluid infections. मतलब bad odor होता है. So these all happens in the intra-amniotic infection syndrome when there is intrapartum and postpartum related maternal infections. To avoid that, we need to follow this. Now, what happens then when during vaginal delivery? Now, in what all stages the infection can occur in labor room, during delivery, after delivery, and postpartum, and during PV. Now, because during vaginal delivery, when we have to do PV, so during that also we can give infection to the patient. So during vaginal delivery and after delivery, we make prone to get infection to the patient if we are not following IPC. So we have to follow this IPC. In what condition? During vaginal delivery, if there is prolonged rupture of membrane, that is more ट्रॉमा टू दी बर्थ कैनाल उधर अगर है तो भी इन्फेक्शन हो सकता है. रिटेन प्लेसेंटा, एंड रिटेन प्लेसेंटा मतलब अगर हम प्लेसेंटा को मैन्युअली रिमूव करने का कोशिश करेंगे, वो भी कंटामिनेटेड ही ग्लव्स से. मतलब जब हम मैन्युअली प्लेसेंटा को रिमूव करना है, डिलीवरी कंडक्ट करने के लिए जो ग्लव्स पहना रहता है उसे निकाल के दूसरा स्टेराइल ग्लव्स पहन के ही हम लोगों ने प्लेसेंटा रिमूव करना है. तो ऐसे जगहों से हम लोग उनका इन्फेक्शन कम कर सकते हैं. अभी हमको नॉर्मल डिलीवरी कंडक्ट करते वक्त हम ड्यूरिंग वजाइनल डिलीवरी दूसरा एपिजोटोमी भी देते हैं, मिड फोर्सेप्स डिलीवरी, एंड मल्टीपल वजाइनल एग्जामिनेशंस करते हैं. एपिजोटोमी करते वक्त जो सूचर, कटिंग, सीजर या ये सब उसको स्टेराइल यूज करना है. मिड फोर्सेप डिलीवरी जो भी फोर्सेप्स ये सब है वो भी स्टेराइल होना चाहिए. reusing of same forceps should be avoided, and multiple vaginal examinations should be avoided. How we can avoid that vaginal examination? First, digital vaginal examinations follow कर सकते हैं 4 hour. अगर हम वजाइनल डिलीवरी पीवी कर ही रहे हैं तो क्लीन पेयर ऑफ ग्लव्स यूज करना है, एंड अगर वजाइनल डिलीवरी करते वक्त क्लीन पेयर ऑफ ग्लव्स यूज कर रहे हैं, उस वक्त हमने टिप ऑफ एग्जामिनेशन फिंगर वो सर्वाइकल ऑस को टच नहीं होना चाहिए. सर्वाइकल ऑस को टच हुआ तो इन्फेक्शन के अंदर जाने के चांसेस रहते हैं. द पोर्टल ऑफ एंट्री ऑफ माइक्रोब्स इज इंक्रीजिंग व्हेन देयर इज पोर्टल ऑफ एंट्री. तो इसके लिए हमको वजाइन ड्यूरिंग डिलीवरी में ये सब ध्यान रखना है, और स्पेशली वजाइनल एग्जामिनेशन के वक्त. नाउ इसमें सबसे बेस्ट है हम तो हैंड हाइजीन फॉलो करते ही है, पर 5 मूवमेंट्स में हैंड हाइजीन. नाउ इसमें ऐसा नहीं कि 5 मूवमेंट्स मतलब इधर इधर अगर 6 टाइम्स 7 टाइम्स ये सब कुछ चीजें होते हैं. बिफोर एंड आफ्टर ये हमें याद रखना है कि हैंड हाइजीन हो. बिफोर मदर एंड फीटल, कोई भी हो, फीटल को टच करते वक्त भी जो फीटल डिलीवरी के बाद बच्चे को जो पकड़ती है वो नर्स ने अपना हैंड हाइजीन लेना है. बिफोर एंड आफ्टर बच्चे को अगर इसमें क्रेडल में डालने के बाद भी नर्स ने अपने हैंड वॉशिंग करना है. तो बिफोर एंड आफ्टर एनी प्रोसीजर विथ मैटरनल और fetal, the person has to have washed the hands. Let that be a vital signs, or vaginal examination, या कोई भी दरबाटिंग, anything before touching mother and child and even after touching. So ऐसे हमको हैंड हाइजीन फॉलो करनी. अभी बिफोर डिलीवरी में क्या क्या इन्फेक्शन अवॉइड करने के लिए क्या करना है. बिफोर डिलीवरी use clean gloves to wash the perineal area. Use downwards and backward motion, and use downward and backward motion मतलब clean to unclean area. Now unclean area is anal area. तो anal area को हमको लास्ट में क्लीन करना है. Then wash towel discarded. We have to follow biomedical ways, that is yellow coated container में डालना है. Pubical hair के लिए clipping होता है, shaving नहीं. तो इससे बिफोर डिलीवरी का प्री प्रिपरेशन जो होता है, अगर इसको फॉलो करेंगे तो हम इन्फेक्शन रिड्यूस कर सकते हैं. ड्यूरिंग डिलीवरी में अगेन हैंड हाइजीन, मैंने जैसे बोला बिफोर एंड आफ्टर हैंड हाइजीन इज इम्पोर्टेंट. डिलीवरी कंडक्ट करते वक्त अभी जब से पेंडेमिक हुआ है हमें पीपीई किट भी अवेलेबल है, तो प्लीज पीपीई किट को कंप्लीटली फॉलो करें, क्योंकि हम ये नहीं बोल सकते कि कौन सा सर्जिकल साइट इन्फेक्शन हमें इन्फेक्शन दे सकता है और हमारे से कौन से पेशेंट को दूसरे पेशेंट को हम दे सकते हैं. बिसाइड्स दैट पीपीई किट फॉलो करने से स्टेरिलिटी भी मेंटेन होगी, सर्जिकल साइट इन्फेक्शन स्पिल्स भी नहीं रहेंगे, और फिर हम पेशेंट को भी हेल्दी रख सकेंगे और खुद भी हेल्दी रह सकेंगे. तो इसलिए पीपीई किट इज एसेंशियल while conducting the delivery, and instrument what we are using, it should be sterile. Now with the healthcare workers, when they are receiving the baby, the hand hygiene is very important, क्योंकि तुमको हैंड वॉशिंग की ऐसे मतलब मैंने जैसे बोला बिफोर एंड आफ्टर हैंड वॉशिंग तो होना चाहिए. कोई भी नर्स जो बेबी को रिसीव करती है हैंड हाइजीन फॉलो करते हैं. एंड मैनुअल रिमूवल ऑफ प्लेसेंटा, मैंने बोला अगर तुमको मैनुअली प्लेसेंटा को रिमूव करना है तो तुमने फ्रेश सर्जिकल स्टेराइल ग्लव्स पहनने और प्रीवियस ग्लव जो डिलीवरी कंडक्ट करने के लिए लिया है उसे निकालना. Then is after delivery. Before removing gloves, placenta need to be in a clean basin. Now placenta को तुमने निकाला है तो उसको clean basin में रखना है, फिर gloves निकालना है. अभी suture needles जो हम यूज करते हैं अगर एपिजियोटोमी या पंक्चर, तो उसको पंक्चर प्रूफ कंटेनर में डालना है. उसके बाद अगर सीरीज डिस्पोजेबल करने से पहले 0.5% क्लोरीन सॉल्यूशन से उसको फ्लश करके उसको डिस्पोज करना है. Then we need to remove the gloves in inverted form, मतलब उसको सीधा ऐसे नहीं निकालना है, वो हाथों को टर्न करके उस ग्लव्स को टर्न करके लेना है और फिर उससे निकालना है. और ये हम सारे प्रैक्टिस करते हैं, कभी हम लोगों ने प्रैक्टिस करते वक्त इग्नोरेंस नहीं होना चाहिए, इसलिए ये आईपीसी ने रिवाइजली उसको बताया है. एंड देन यू हैव टू वॉश योर हैंड्स विद सोप एंड वाटर, दैट इज विद हायर एंटीमाइक्रोबियल एजेंट्स. Now this was previously what was dealt with the normal delivery. अब नॉर्मल डिलीवरी हो या सी सेक्शन हो, पीपीई किट फॉलो करना, बिफोर डिलीवरी जो प्रिपरेशन है, क्लिपिंग ऑफ हेयर, क्लीनिंग ऑफ पेरिनियल, ये सब फॉलो करना ही है। इसके बाद पीपीई किट को फॉलो करना है, बिकॉज सी सेक्शन है, एज मैंने सर्जिकल यूनिट में बोला है, सर्जिकल यूनिट भी स्टेराइल होना चाहिए, सारे स्टेराइल इक्विपमेंट भी होने चाहिए। And baby, when we are taking, it should be in a clean towel, and if holding the baby, healthcare worker should follow hand hygiene and surgical gloves when should be surgical gloves when removing the placenta. That is manual removing तो सी सेक्शन में होता ही है, तो इसलिए जो डिलीवरी के लिए जो ग्लव्स किया है उसे निकाल के प्लेसेंटा के लिए दूसरा ग्लव्स लेना है. If there is any prolonged rupture of membrane, then you should avoid spillage of amniotic fluid. Amniotic fluid ना abdominal cavity में जा सकता है अगर एक्सेस में है, तो उस वक्त हमको लवाज के लिए फॉलो करना है, that is स्टेराइल मॉइस्ट पैड, तो हम उसको निकाल सकते हैं, एब्जॉर्ब, क्योंकि वो स्टेराइल पैड्स उसे एब्जॉर्ब कर सकते हैं एमनियोटिक फ्लूइड्स एज पॉसिबल. नेक्स्ट इज लार्ज अमाउंट ऑफ एमनियोटिक फ्लूइड स्पिल इन द एब्डोमिनल कैविटी है, तो उसको लवाज करना है ताकि उसको हम कंप्लीटली निकाल सके. किससे? तो स्टेराइल आइसोटोनिक सलाइन सॉल्यूशन से निकालना है. एंड अवॉइड एक्सप्लोरिंग यूट्राइन कैविटी unless it is not necessary. तो क्योंकि पोर्टल ऑफ एंट्री जहां रहता है तो उधर इन्फेक्शन जाना पॉसिबल है. I hope it is I'm audible to everyone. With that I'll continue. Okay, so now this was with the maternity unit, that is labor room, जिधर हमको बिफोर डिलीवरी, आफ्टर, ड्यूरिंग डिलीवरी एंड आफ्टर डिलीवरी, लेट दैट बी अ नॉर्मल डिलीवरी और सी सेक्शन, हमें फॉलो करना है, पीपीई किट फॉलो करना है, प्रॉपर बिफोर एंड आफ्टर हैंड हाइजीन फॉलो करना है, बेबी को रिसीव करते वक्त भी बिफोर एंड आफ्टर हैंड हाइजीन फॉलो करना है, एमनियोटिक फ्लूइड की तरफ प्रॉपर ध्यान देना है, एब्जॉर्प्शन और लवाज, अगर एक्सेस पिल्स है तो सर्जिकल साइट इंफेक्शन पिल्स पे ध्यान देना है, और जैसे डिलीवरी होता है लेबर रूम को प्रॉपरली फिर से हायर डिसइंफेक्टेंट सॉल्यूशन से, जैसे हमने सर्जिकल यूनिट में देखा है वैसे पूरा क्लीन करके निकालना है, और नेक्स्ट पेशेंट के लिए उसको तैयार रेडी विथ डिसइंफेक्टेंट हमें उसको रेडी रखना है, ताकि हम नेक्स्ट डिलीवरी के लिए ऑलरेडी उसे reuse कर सके, but in sterile form with sterile equipment, sterile gloves and sterile articles. Next we will go with neonatal unit. हमने OT भी कंप्लीट किया है, लेबर रूम भी कंप्लीट किया, अभी हम NICU की तरफ जाते हैं. जैसे मैटरनिटी यूनिट खत्म होता है, डिलीवरी हो गया, अगर हमको नियोनेट को कहीं रखना है, उसका लोकेशन, मतलब पोर्टल ऑफ एंट्री ऑफ माइक्रोब्स इन NICU, इसके लिए हमको क्लीन इमीडिएट एनवायरनमेंट चाहिए ना. लोकेशन कहाँ होना चाहिए? लेबर रूम के पास में, क्योंकि जैसे लेबर रूम होता है के पास में, अगर बच्चे को, नियोनेट को NICU की गरज है, तो हमको इमीडिएटली NICU बहुत दूर रहने से हमें पेशेंट, बच्चे के हेल्थ के ऊपर कर सकते हैं, इसलिए हमें पास रखने से क्या होता है कि हम इमीडिएट मैनेजमेंट पकड़ सकते हैं. NICU इट शुड बी एयरबोर्न इन्फेक्शन आइसोलेशन रूम, हैंड वॉशिंग स्टेशन, हैंड हाइजीन एंड विजिटर रिस्ट्रिक्टेड एरिया. NICU इस तरह से डिजाइन करना है. बट फिर भी NICU के भी पर्टिकुलर जोन्स होते हैं. तो कैन एनीबडी टेल मी in the chat box that what can be the NICU zones? Can anybody tell me what can be the NICU zones? In the chat box. What are the zones of NICU? Okay, clean zone, isolation zone. Okay, I'll continue with Bhagyashri, who has answered for clean zone and isolation zone. I'll go with isolation zone, but not clean zone, because we have 4 zones in this. Higher density जोन, हायर डेंसिटी में क्या होता है, इधर जो बच्चे रहते हैं उनको वेंटिलेटर एंड 24 आवर्स ऑब्जर्वेशन की जरूरत है, तो इसके लिए 1:1 नर्स पेशेंट रेशो भी रहता है. नेक्स्ट जोन इज लो डेंसिटी जोन. लो डेंसिटी जोन मतलब प्रीटर्म बेबीज, उसमें 1:2 नर्स पेशेंट रेशियो एंड 1:3 भी रख सकते हैं. एंड थर्ड वन इज आइसोलेशन यूनिट, दैट इज उसमें सेप्टिक बेबीज रहते हैं, उसमें अगेन 1:1 बिकॉज सेप्टिक बेबी 1:2 अदर केयर करने से बच्चे को भी, दूसरे बच्चे को भी हम सेप्सिस में कर सकते, प्रॉब्लम में ला सकते हैं. एंड देन इज ब्रेस्ट फीडिंग रूम. दीज आर द 4 units of NICU, higher density unit, that is where we keep babies with ventilator and we need to observe them 24 every whole 24 hours, that is 1:1 ratio of the nurse. Low density unit, that is preterm babies, that is 1:2 or 1:3 ratio. Isolation unit, that is with septic babies, and breastfeeding room. We call it as 3 levels also, level 1, level 2 and level 3. बट कभी कभी हम हाई डेंसिटी यूनिट में उसको जोन्स में वे NICU बनाया रहता है. Now these are the 4 zones of the NICU. Now proliferation, that is increase of microbes in NICU, how we can avoid that? That is good housekeeping. जो अभी जैसे मैंने सर्जिकल यूनिट में बोला, लेबर रूम में बोला, इधर मतलब कुछ भी इक्विपमेंट हो, हर चीज को डिसइंफेक्टेंट से क्लीन करना है. इंक्यूबेटर्स हो, वार्मर्स हो, इन्फ्यूजन पंप हो, लैरिंजोस्कोप, थर्मामीटर, कुछ भी हो उसे हायर डिसइंफेक्टेंट इन्फेक्शन से क्लीन करना है. बच्चे का जो भी वो एरिया है उसे भी हायर डिसइंफेक्टेंट इससे क्लीन करना है सॉल्यूशन से. एंड बायोमेडिकल वेस्ट, जैसे तुमको आपके मॉड्यूल में 5th मॉड्यूल में बायोमेडिकल वेस्ट मैनेजमेंट का डिटेल में पढ़ा है, वो गाइडलाइंस फॉलो करने हैं. Okay, next in this, then prevention of transmission of infection from one baby to another. Nurse patient ratio मैंने आप लोगों को बोला, higher density में 1:1, lower density में 1:2 और 1:3, isolation unit में 1:1. and इस तरह से patient ratio follow किया तो हम contamination of infection, passing of infection reduce कर सकते. Using of disposable, now wherever it is necessary, because it's neonate and they are having low immunity, but it's better to use everything disposable. Let that be a syringe, suction catheter, medication vials, respiratory support circuits, anything better to use disposable, because after one patient we can discard them. एंड जो चीज हम डिस्कार्ड नहीं कर सकते उससे कंप्लीटली हमें उसका स्टेरिलिटी मेंटेन करना है. लेमिनार फ्लो सिस्टम ऑफ द ड्रग, दैट इज जो सिरिंज पंप रहता है ना, वो एक यूनिडायरेक्शनल फ्लो में रहना चाहिए. एंड टोटल पैरेंटल न्यूट्रिशन प्रिपरेशन के लिए वो पंप लेमिनार फ्लो का ही होना है. उससे क्या होता है, एक ही डायरेक्शन में फ्लो में दिया हुआ, इससे इन्फेक्शन रेट कम होता है. कंप्लीट इधर से भी चुबाएंगे, बहुत सारी जगह से हम लोग बच्चे को इंसर्शन ऑफ कैथेटर करेंगे तो बहुत सारी जगह से हम इनको इन्फेक्शन देने के चांसेस रहते हैं. इसलिए यूनिडायरेक्शनल एक ही फ्लो में से देना है. और वो सिरिंज पंप जो हम यूज करते हैं लेमिनार फ्लो के लिए, उसे 72 आवर्स में चेंज करना है. देन हमको माइक्रोबियल एंट्री, मैंने बोला पोर्टल ऑफ एंट्री, जिधर जहाँ रहता है उधर इन्फेक्शन बढ़ने का चांसेस रहता है. तो इसलिए पोर्टल ऑफ एंट्री जहाँ जहाँ होता है, लेट दैट बी कॉर्ड और स्किन, पोर्स, पियर्स्ड स्किन, तो वो सब हमें केयर करना है. कॉर्ड क्या, यूजुअली कॉर्ड को ड्राई रखना है, बट अगर सेप्सिस पेशेंट है तो एंटी माइक्रोबियल एजेंट्स और एंटीबायोटिक्स वगैरह उसमें लोकल एप्लीकेशन में डाल सकते हैं. स्किन केयर, अगर पोर्टरीज में जहाँ मतलब आईवी कैथेटर लाइन वगैरह डालते हैं, उधर हम स्टेराइल ग्लव्स, स्टेराइल गॉज पीसेस रखने से ज्यादा केयर ये होता है. जो अगर पेशेंट को कुछ एंटीबायोटिक्स या एंटीमाइक्रोबियल एजेंट्स चालू ही रहते हैं, उससे उनको कुछ इन्फेक्शन होने का चांसेस कम रहता है. बट इफ देयर इज एनी पोर्टल ऑफ एंट्री, यू आर सपोज टू टेक aseptic protocols to be considered as it is given in your module 4. Aseptic protocols and standard precautions, you need to follow all those things in this NICU units to avoid the IPC, to infection and to follow IPC. प्रिकॉशन ड्यूरिंग हैंडलिंग ऑफ अम्बिलिकल कैथेटर। अम्बिलिकल कैथेटर क्योंकि कभी कभी हम अम्बिलिकल कैथेटर से भी कुछ टीपीएन ये सब फॉलो करते हैं, तो कैथेटर साइट ब्लड स्ट्रीम इन्फेक्शंस को ध्यान रखना है। इसमें क्या होता है, अगर हमको मालूम करना है, द टिप ऑफ द कैथेटर कैन बी सेंट टू कल्चर, तो कल्चर से हमें इन्फेक्शन का मालूम पड़ता है। इसलिए टू आइडेंटिफाई दैट कैथेटर रिलेटेड ब्लड स्ट्रीम इन्फेक्शन CRBSI, तो उसको हम लोग इस तरह से आइडेंटिफाई कर सकते हैं। मैंने जैसे बोला, तो आपके मॉड्यूल 5 को एसेप्टिक प्रोटोकॉल्स दिए हैं, वो फॉलो करना है। रिप्लेस द कैथेटर, now replace the catheter if you find any infection, and it should be now replacement how it is given with catheter related infection, that is umbilical atrial catheters you have to remove after 5 days, and umbilical venous catheter you have to remove after 14 days. That will help the child from the infection. And agar antibiotic chalu karna hai, you have to see for the antimicrobial resistance, and after that only you can do that. As I had told you, you have to keep the sterile gauze in the insertion sites, like jidhar pierce kiya rehta hai, so that the portal of entry is closed for any microbes. So iske liye neonatal units mein ye sab follow karna. Umbilical, again I'll repeat, umbilical catheter जो यूज किया रहता है उसको 5 डेज के बाद चेंज करना है। umbilical venous catheter को हमको 14 डेज के बाद चेंज करना है। Precautions during endotracheal intubations and suctions. Again, you have to follow your module 5, that is aseptic protocols. Use sterile endotracheal tubes. Don't touch the tracheal tip of the tube. Hand hygiene तो essential. वो hand बिना बोले भी hand hygiene तो follow होना चाहिए, and sterile gloves. And discard the suction catheter after every use, because it's better to use the new ones. When we are suctioning the child, the tip of the catheter is always unsterile, so it's better to reuse it. This is about the NICU unit. First, we have looked into the surgical unit, that is OT, maternal unit, that is the labor room, and then is it the NICU with 4 units, that is higher density unit, low density unit, isolation room, and breastfeeding room. And about the bloodstream catheter related bloodstream infection, that is umbilical catheter to be changed in 5 days, and umbilical venous catheter to be changed in 14 days, and rest all the sterility to be maintained, and using of disposable articles. Next, we will go to hemodialysis unit. What is hemodialysis? Can anybody write it in chat box? What is hemodialysis? What is hemodialysis? Anybody? The hemo is blood. Kidney dialysis. Okay. Dialysis unit, that is when we are doing with kidney dialysis, some dialysis are within the body, but in hemodialysis, these dialysis are done externally. Complete purification of blood is done in externally. So this is hemodialysis. And why it is very risky? Because complete blood purification is done externally, so we have to be very careful when we are doing this, because we can give infection to the person because of the machines what we are using for the purification of blood. So this hemodialysis unit care is essential. Again, the positive pressure is maintained in this hemodialysis unit to avoid the external environment. Now in hemodialysis unit, for a dialysis patient, the infection can lead especially only from hospital, because they are coming only for purification of blood in the hospital. Patients will be exposed to bloodstream infection, bloodborne infection, because this is purification of blood. So the IPC practices, what we are giving, we have to again follow hand hygiene as by WHO guidelines or as per your module 3. Hand hygiene is strictly followed, and healthcare worker has to have the standard precaution. That is, here also you have to have PPE kit for your blood secretions and contaminated items to avoid the infection to self as well as to the patients. Respiratory etiquettes to be maintained. Respiratory etiquettes like wearing of a mask, with avoid sneezing, coughing. So these things you have to follow, and you have to close by wearing the mask during the procedures. Because when you are doing procedures, it is external. The IV catheters are put, and the this healthcare workers are very closely coming across the patient. So to avoid that, you have to have the respiratory etiquettes. The environment you have to clean, let that be the equipment. After using also, you have to clean those equipment, disinfectant the all the tubings. And in this area, because it's externally you are purifying the blood, your doorknob, exterior surface of the machine, each and everything, as like surgical unit and the bed, everything you need to clean. Same way in every unit, whatever is there, you need to clean. So you need to clean, and so in that way, environmental cleaning infection is an important component of infection prevention. So here, high touch area, let that be a doorknob, exterior surface of the machine, need to be clean. And cleaning should be done in between the treatments also, because the portal of entry is existing there and the blood purification is going on. So you have to be very careful for surgical site infections or any spills or body fluids. As I have already told you about the equipment cleaning, infection can be caused by contamination of the equipment. So you need to clean it well. And dialysis water, what you are using, should be very sterile one. Now, when you are cleaning hemodialysis patient, hemo means blood. So any blood related infection, let that be HBsAg positive patient. In that patient, when you are caring, it should be 1:1 ratio. There shouldn't be any other patient or any other care by that particular nurse. PPE kit is essential to avoid your self-infection and then to the other infection. And there should be 1:1 ratio. Dialysis should be discarded after using for SBHAZ patient to the biomedical, as per your biomedical waste protocols. And as a staff who is caring for HBsAg positive patient, she should be immune. That is, with hepatitis B vaccine should be given to the staff who is giving care to the HBsAg positive patient, because HBsAg positive patient cannot be given care by the negative patient. So you have to get immunized, and both positive and negative patient shouldn't be given together. So first one, you have to be careful that you have to wear PPE kit for your self protection. HBsAg positive patient, when you are giving care, everything should be discarded. Even the dialyzers also need to be discarded, and the staff who is giving care should be hepatitis B vaccine immune. This was all about the settings. That is, we have looked into the OT settings with 4 zones, that is clean, protective, aseptic, and disposable zones with 3 airflows: laminar, stabilized, and turbulent airflow, with CSSD department where there should be a higher positive pressure, CSSD department at the ground floor, and OT at the top floor. Every equipment in the OT need to be cleaned and sterile to avoid with the surgical site infection. PPE kit, let that be a surgical unit, maternity unit, neonatal, or hemodialysis. PPE kit is very essential. If you go to labor room, again the cleaning of articles, using of sterile gloves for before, during, after, and even with the manual removal of placenta should also be seen. Besides that, with the neonate, when you are giving care, with the 4 zones, that is higher density, lower density, then is septic zones and breastfeeding room with again positive airflow pressure, and all the equipments need to be clean. If you are looking into the catheter, umbilical catheter, that is catheter related bloodstream infections, you have to change the catheter in 5 days and venous catheter in 14 days. If possible, you can send the tip of the catheter for cultures test, and then you have to see that per patient nurse patient ratio is followed. Besides that, when it is related to hemodialysis unit, taking care with the HBsAg positive, the nurse should be immune with self, and each and everything need to be damn clean with higher disinfections, and your hand hygiene should be with higher microbial agents. So these things, protocols need to be followed. Similarly, it is in the ICU too, that is receiving the patient, shifting the patient, hand hygienes to be followed. The unit to be cleaned thoroughly, aldehydes for using fumigation, and in the clinical labs also there are the spills, blood spills and fluid spills also. Fluid collections are there, so you need to avoid that environment. Yeah, there also we have positive air pressure, and because to maintain the collection of samples. So these things in any setting, these protocols from your module 1 to 7 need to be followed in various settings with your biomedical waste management, aseptic protocols, hand hygienes as per your community, and this your team members who is available in the hospital will help you with this IPC. So move into with all these settings. I hope you have understood well. So with to know what you have understood, we will go with the case study 1, that is 35-year-old male, and the person is an ICU unit with the burns, 75% burns to the patient. Already the patient is in mechanical ventilator, and this patient is assigned to you for 24 hours. What all precautions you will take? So now the call is yours, and I am waiting for your answer in the chat box. "35 years old with burns patient is 75% burns. Patient is in ICU and is on mechanical ventilator. Maintain sterility. Okay. Aseptic precautions as per your module 3. Aseptic technique. CPAP. Yes. Patient should keep burns unit. Okay. ICU burns. There are various ICU burns unit also. Sterility. PPE kit is not essential for self in the IPC to avoid yourself the infection, as well as for your shouldn't pass the infection to somebody else. Respiratory etiquettes are also important here because the patient is 75% burns, and when you are not following the respiratory etiquettes, the portal of entry of infection is more to the person who is giving care. And you know, the changing of bed sheet and this the sterile gloves need to be followed. Why? Because you, if 75% burns, imagine the fluid which is released from the patient body is so high, then you sure you have to have fluid replacement also. Mechanical ventilator, the cleaning of mechanical ventilator, the tubing, everything is very essential in this case study. All your module from 1 to 7 completely with biomedical waste management is very essential in this burns patient. So I hope you have understood this with this case study, and you can think the age, that is infection prevention and control, need to be maintained in any situation. And in certain situation, if you require special precaution for prevention of guidelines to be followed from normal to maintain standard ones. And what you know, you please update and even inform to the others. When you see something wrong, you have to teach them and you have to follow. So this is about the module 8 of your today's section. I hope we all have learned and we all have taught each other. So with this, thank you, and I hand over this session to Sanchika madam. If you have any doubt, you can put it in the chat box.
Thank you, ma'am. It was an excellent session, I believe, and the messages in the chat box are really overwhelming, and I saw that participants were responding in the chat box. It was good. It was a good interaction overall, I would say. Now the floor is open for a question and answer session. मैं सभी को अनम्यूट एक्सेस दे रही हूँ और रिक्वेस्ट करूंगी कि जिस चीज के जो भी सवाल हो वो अपने सवाल को चैट बॉक्स में डाल सकते हैं या फिर अपने आप को अनम्यूट करके पूछ सकते हैं. Please, all those participants who have some questions regarding the session, please write your questions in the chat box, or else please unmute yourself to speak. Please write your questions in the chat box. आप लोग or else unmute yourself to speak. जिसके जो भी सवाल हो वो अपने सवालों को चैट बॉक्स में डाल सकता है या फिर अपने सवालों को अनम्यूट करके पूछ सकता है. Please write your questions in the chat box or else unmute yourself to speak. किसी के कोई सवाल हो वो लिख सकता है. कोई भी सवाल नहीं है.
Hello.
हाँ बोलिए.
I would ask one question about the AC. When you tell us there's a 3 types of ACs, or laminar flow or tubular flow, just what we have to check when laminar flow is working properly, or any swap should take?
No. That I have told you, air handling unit is already there in that, and laminar flow, these are the system which is available in that. Now about the air flow, definitely it is higher pressure. When it is not coming, you will automatically understand in that. That is when there is higher pressure is not there, you are supposed to know where there is higher like in it is suppose a OT room, that's very air is not existing in that, you are supposed to inform that. For that you have to know the types of pressure given in the unit. So it was told you, there is no swaps which you have to take.
Okay. What pressure when how many pressure you have to keep in OT? AC pressure.
I have given you 840 supply, 240 in that module. So I think that module will be shared, I think, later on to them.
250 here. Okay,
I
same.
told you about supply and extract with flow liter per second.
Okay, ma'am. Thank you, ma'am.
किसी का और कोई सवाल हो वो पूछ सकता है.
If no, then I think I
Yes,
will
I
exit.
think Yes, there is no question as of. किसी का कोई सवाल है तो पूछ सकता है. If there is no question, then we will move forward. Ma'am, I would request you that please motivate the participants to attend all the sessions of the same batch. They are in MNC batch 1.
Okay. So to all the participants, I think the way I had summarized your module 1 to 7, what you have learned, which you have to apply it in your module 8. So similarly, there are module 9, 10, and rest 3. Definitely, if it is a package of modules of your IPC, then each and every package is very equally important for everything as a whole to give a 100% IPC. So now if you are getting trained, you are certified for that, and that is your additional upgrading of your profession. So I think that is very essential, that without knowing knowledge, getting trained and you are getting certified is not a right one, because you will be having ignorance in all the area. So better to get knowledgeable, and you have to be active with what you are attending for your throughout 13 modules. Thank you.
Thank you so much, ma'am, for motivating the participants. It's always a pleasure to have you here. We will call you again for the next session in the next class. Thank you, ma'am, for joining today. Now we will move forward to the last part of the agenda item, which is the feedback round. मैंने फीडबैक का लिंक चैट बॉक्स में शेयर किया है. प्लीज आप लोग उसको भरें. बिना फीडबैक फॉर्म भरे कोई भी मीटिंग छोड़ के नहीं जाएगा. क्या किसी ने फीडबैक फॉर्म भर लिया है तो वो चैट बॉक्स में लिख के बता सकता है. जिसने फीडबैक फॉर्म भर लिया है वो लोग मीटिंग छोड़ के जा सकते हैं. तो अब हमारा मीटिंग क्लोज करने का टाइम आ चुका है। फीडबैक फॉर्म का लिंक मैंने चैट बॉक्स में शेयर किया है। मैं सबसे रिक्वेस्ट करूंगी कि आप लोग उसे भरें। मैं देख रही हूँ चैट बॉक्स में बहुत लोगों ने भर लिया है, बहुत अच्छी बात है, थैंक यू सो मच। अगले सेशन में हम फिर से मिलेंगे, तब तक के लिए सभी को मैं बहुत बहुत धन्यवाद देती हूँ। आज आप लोग आए उसके लिए बहुत बहुत धन्यवाद। अगले सेशन में हम फिर से मिलेंगे, तब तक के लिए नमस्कार, जय हिंद। मैं मीटिंग क्लोज करने जा रही हूँ।